Welcome back to Hermione Fanfic Fanatics. You're here with Holly, Carrie Ann, and Tracy, and today we are discussing Measure of a Man. So if you have not read it, go and read it. It's fantastic. We are spoiling it for you today. This is a completed work at 42 chapters, a whopping word count of 588,659 words by In a Days 22. Do we need anything else?
It's on fanfiction.net,
Thank you.
AO3, and Spotify has one as well.
You can listen to it on Spotify. It's great.
So let's get into the longest fanfic on our podcast so far.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that exciting? I feel
This
like we should have like a little...
Right? This was the third time I have read this fic. It's fabulous.
It was the first time for Tracy and I. Tracy's had it on her list for
years. Forever.
Yeah,
Forever.
She's wanted to read it for so long, but this was the first time she's actually read it. And she finished it. That's important to note.
2 hours ago.
That's right. But she did.
She finished it. She read the whole thing.
You had such a good goal and you stuck to it.
Yep. I did. And it's the ADHD, guys. It's the lack of, it's not the lack of wanting. It's the, I just cannot sit and watch it or listen. Sorry. So anyway.
Well, I like the way that this fic starts out because as much as I have a back and forth opinion about Theo in this fic, I love the beginning where he's just there. He's the hospital director. He's her boss. And he's just so mature feeling. I'm like,
I think this is the first like real mature Theo. I feel like he always tends to lean a little bit more.
He's always the goofy.
Yeah, like the goofy, the class clown. And this one, he was much more mature, and I really liked that about this.
Me too.
Really
I mean, I didn't appreciate some of his other things that he did later on in the fic that we found out about, but he's still, I like the thought of
Theo in this. I don't know what you're talking about.
Theo. Yes.
I didn't care about him.
I love Theo in this.
I'm both. I lean both ways.
I did not, this fic, hello. Sorry, my dog made a noise. This fic is absolutely, if you look on it on AO3, if you look at it, it's in a million bookmarks. It's
in a bunch of collections.
Exactly, like God tier Hermione. Yeah, it is. So if you're wondering, that's why it holds up.
Yeah.
It holds up. It's like, what is it, 42 chapters?
Yep.
And I have 38 pages of notes. So
Holly and I were talking about this. Is your notebook standard size?
No.
Okay. Is it smaller?
What size is it? It is smaller.
Okay.
Yeah. This is about how big it is. It's a little bit smaller.
Okay.
It looks standard size.
It's a tiny bit smaller than standard size. Tiny bit.
Mine is like half that size.
But do you write like this all the way over, or do you leave margins? Because when I write, leave margins.
Mine doesn't have margins.
Even if I it's probably the same size then if you're writing all the way through.
Because mine doesn't naturally have margins, and so this is what it looks like. And it's like some pages I didn't go all the way down because it's hard to write those last few lines.
Yep.
So,
that's fine.
But yeah, otherwise, like I wrote a lot.
There's a lot
of it's crap.
There's a lot.
This is a very well put, thought out story. It's just very intricate. That's like the word I kept thinking of. So let's get into it.
Back to Theo.
No, not even just Theo. Just like, so I don't look at tags. I really don't. I should look at tags. I don't look at characters. I don't look at any of that. I just jump right in. So at the beginning, it's being secretive about who the patient is that she's going to like work on.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about this over Marco Polo, but I was right. My first guess was Narcissa. I was right. I just want to put that out there.
Okay.
I just want to know.
I had a half a second. I didn't think I wrote it down. I had a half a second of like, okay, it sounds like it's Narcissa. Wait a second. Could it be his own son? Like, is the kid that
would have killed me.
Patient? And yeah, I'm very glad I was wrong. But like for some reason, my mind just went to that, and I was like, why did I do this to myself? But yeah. Anyway, also sorry, I'm backing up again, just to the notes from the author.
Yes.
It's very much a slow burn. So if you do not want a slow burn, please do not read it. or read it later. Don't if you do not like slow burns, it takes a while. It's a very, very
Yes.
slow burn. Doesn't mean
Yes.
it's like it was fantastic. It was the perfect
It
slow burn.
was.
It was
Yeah.
incredible. I have nothing
It
but
really
praise,
was.
but
You just get to live
it's
through
like
it.
strap
You get
in.
to fully live through it.
Hmm.
It's so
Yeah.
good. I love it.
Like I don't
Um,
always love slow burns, so I have
yeah.
to make sure I'm in the mood for it.
Yeah.
But like,
There's something
so if you're
about
not if you're not sure,
it's worth it. It's worth it. There's something about the aesthetic that I feel from this book. The way that they describe her, I know this is kind of jumping, but I mean it's not really. The way they describe her house, the way I don't know, it's very calming. It's
Hmm.
very grounding. And I'm like, if I could just live in this fic, I think I'd choose to. It's the same kind of calming feeling I get when I read Seek and Find, which it's still off. We can't read it. So it's a little sad, but it reminds me of that one where they're in Italy. And I
It's
love
just
that one.
comfort. Yeah, it's like you
Yes.
just feel like a
Yep.
big warm hug when you like, but there are parts of this fic. Seek and Find didn't have very many of those like moments, but there are moments in this fic that you're like, I was crying, I was sobbing. I'll openly admit that. Like
Hmm.
this one gives you a little bit of
very
like
much.
action and like
Yep. And I love that. I love it, just it came full circle with everything. You get the romance, you get the action, you get everything. It's nice. Keeps you on your toes while at the same time slow burning and just living life.
Mhm.
And yeah, I like the way that Hermione lives her life in this. She's not living in fear, and it's so good. Greyback is after her in this fic, so it's kind of it's
Mhm.
kind of scary. It's like you think about that and you're like, ugh, why?
I too would become a hermit and live
Yeah.
in my house and not go anywhere.
And it's such a
Oh,
nice house.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's beautiful in the countryside. Like
and we'll
she
talk about her
has
remodeling thing later
farms.
on, but oh, I was all into her remodeling stuff toward the end.
Um I know it jumps a little bit, so if you guys have other notes before
Hmm.
that, that's
We'll just
fine.
be going back and forth.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Um
Oh yeah, this won't have a
I
lot of structure,
Yep.
sorry.
um I loved I loved Hermione in this and kind of like what you're saying, like she's not afraid. She was like antagonizing like what's his face? The bad dude, the minister, she was like
Oh my
antagonizing.
God.
Tiberius.
Yes.
Tiberius
She
McLagan.
was like so just the way that like her whole interactions with him every single time, they were so funny to me. I was like, I'm so glad that she's just like standing her ground. I'm like, no, crazy
Yeah.
no. And I loved that.
I did too. I like that doesn't she tell him straight out? Is she like, oh well, it has Veritaserum in it, like the tea? Does she tell him that to his face? That
Yes,
she knows that
basically.
it's
I mean, that's long ahead, by the by. But
oh
yeah, she basically like smells it and it is like, oh
There's
yeah,
like a
this has a
sheen on the
sheen of
top. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
like Veritaserum has a sheen to it, no matter what you do, and like puts her teacup down. I was like, oh my God, ma'am,
Yeah.
way to
I'm not
be.
that brave.
No,
I like I'll do things, but I would never do that. I'd be like
that
just like
was
put it down.
very like okay, good luck.
I
I'd
just
be doing
loved
what Harry did in book 5 with Umbridge, faking sips of tea
yeah,
and
like
putting it down.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I just loved that. I just loved all of that.
I love how old they are in this one. They're in their 30s.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know, there's a maturity to this fic, and I think it's because of how far past the war that they are. They're into their 30s. I like that we're already older, we're mature, and we're friends with the Slytherins. So like Pansy
Yes.
is now her friend. She comes over for girls' night and they drink and they have a good time. It's already you're already there. And it goes back and it explains really well how they got there.
Yeah.
Um, but I just like that we already started there. It's like, oh, that's nice. Pansy's already part of her life. I love Pansy.
I love a Pansy and Hermione friendship. I love
Yes,
it so
me
much.
too.
I
Me
also
too.
really, really liked the random pairings in this of pairings that I'd never seen before, like Daphne and Dean and
Yeah.
Blaze and Padma. And
Uh-huh.
then there's more, but
Percy
we
and
don't have to go
Pansy.
into it just yet.
Oh my
Percy
gosh.
and Pansy.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
I
okay,
know
I'm here for
you're
it.
going what? Like, well, Percy, you don't really hear anything about Percy, and he was pretty prominent in this fic
Mhm.
with how close they were, because they worked together and, all of that. And so I loved that.
I loved
I
it.
I loved how he just shows up and like immediately they have a connection of,
I
oh,
loved
he's
theirs.
hot.
I loved their whole storyline the whole time of Pansy and
I
Percy
think
and
I
how
would read.
I would read a full fic on them.
Yes.
I
Absolutely.
loved
Yep.
it. Oh,
In a Day's 22, if you wanted to, write a Pansy Percy fic based on this one.
I was gonna say if we check,
Let's
maybe
just
they
get
already
some
have one.
more. Let's just get some more. It was great. It was so good. Loved it.
So since we're talking about side characters, Ron, the resident Ron Basher here.
Oh my god.
I seriously, there were so many times that I wanted to smack him and just be like, "Get the hint, man! Get the hint!" Like,
I know. I
and
know.
I mean, I love fics where he is kind of an idiot like that, though, because it gives me the Ron Basher ammunition. So I love those.
I like that we kind of started with that, okay, throughout like at least half of it or 75% of the way through. And then, it was when he finally moved on that it was like, okay, good job, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, moved on to, Lisa, who we hate, but then moved on to, I mean, do I spoil that this early? He
If
moved
you
on to
want, we
Susan.
don't.
He moved on to Susan, and I feel like at that point is when he finally let go of Hermione, and it was good.
His
Their
growth
relationship
was
got a
really
lot
good.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But in
Yep.
the beginning, the Ron Basher and me got my fill of
And yes,
stupid Ron.
good.
So woohoo! Woohoo!
He was just paired with her mom so well. Like with the bashing wise, I bashed Hermione's mom the entire time through this fic. I hated
Yes.
her. I hated Hermione's mother.
I
It
can
drove me
understand,
nuts.
like I understand where like their trust is broken.
Mhm.
But as you were saying earlier, this has been years. Like years. And I don't understand holding on to that level of like grudge and like mistrust.
Yeah. Me
But
neither.
her dad made
I
up for it. So I loved her dad in this fic.
I did too.
Yes.
I did too.
I don't know. I just something about just the way she treated Hermione throughout the entire fic, her mom.
Yeah.
It's like this is your child, your
Mhm.
only child. What are you doing?
I hated
Like,
the deceptiveness that she had with her throughout.
When she set
Like,
up Ron for that
yes.
dinner.
And she only invited her. Oh, I can't remember. Was it she was inviting her over at like a time that
yeah.
they weren't normally,
Yeah,
they
they're
had
not
like a
scheduled
schedule.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And she got excited, like, oh, this might finally be the turning point. And nope. Nope. Can't be that good. It's really sad.
Well, we've jumped so much that I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, let me see where we can go back. Okay. So it's safe to say I cried a lot during this fanfic or this fic. Surprise, surprise, cried a lot. The very first time I shed a slight like like a little tear was when Daphne found out about her pregnancy and the death of her sister Astoria in the same week. And
Yeah.
I just went, oh my God. And so yeah, just a little
That
tidbit of
crushed
information
me.
there. You're welcome. Yeah. Like, you're welcome. It's fine. But yeah, anyway.
You know what's funny is I'm not normally a fan of Daphne in a lot of fanfics that I read, but I
Yeah.
really liked her in this one.
Mhm.
She was so well written and just the way that she was involved in the story, but not like, obviously
Yeah.
she's not the main characters because that's not
She was
her story.
necessary though.
Yeah.
And
She
so
was so good in this.
yeah. Mhm. I also enjoyed her a lot in this. I know we're jumping around so much. But I thought it was funny. So the first thing I feel like we hear about Draco, other than, I mean, she finds out Narcissa is going to be her patient and, she's going to be dealing with that and she'll probably see Draco and everything. But like she's thinking about in her head and she's wondering like what he's like now. And based on Harry's complaints, Draco seems the exact same. He seems like the exact same person. And then she meets him and he's just so quiet. And it's like, And then, I mean, yeah, he's snarky, but I mean, it's funny. And it's like, I just wonder how these people would be, you know,
As
so,
adults.
yeah, as like real adults. We're in our 30s and we're, so, and she hasn't seen him for how long? And so it's just funny. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I like Draco though. I always like Draco.
I mean, I don't
Well,
think we'd have a podcast if we didn't
I
like
know.
Draco. Just
I love I
that's a good
love
point.
his dynamic. I love his growth as a father in this fic. This is for Father's Day, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Forgot to mention that.
Yes.
I love his growth as a father in this, coming from he just doesn't know what to do.
You know, it's
Like,
so funny. I have to say it. One of my notes,
yes.
I put this is like chapter 5, so it's very early. I put, dang it, I wanted Daddy Draco, not Father Draco.
Ah, me too.
But
Me
he
too.
changes. He becomes Daddy Draco. So like, we're good. We're good. Don't you worry.
Oh man.
Don't you worry. Your pretty little heads.
I'm gonna take a sharp left turn away
That's
from
fine.
the government being an oligarchy. It's how it was said. I don't actually know what that is. I mean, the ministry. So the Minister of Magic does not have power anymore. Right after the war, they took it away, and it's the entire Wizengamot. The Wizengamot is how I say
Mhm.
it. And Tiberius is the leader, so basically Tiberius is it. But Kingsley was trying so hard to like get everything back in order. The Wizengamot was like, screw you, we're going to not do this. We're going to be in charge for 10 years. Screw you, goodbye. Kingsley becomes a beekeeper.
I loved
I
that.
Love it. Love.
He retires
Love.
and he's such a beekeeper. Let's
He
see. Becoming a beekeeper is such a mood. Fuck the government. That's my
Me
notes.
too.
So, but yeah, that was such a mood. I was like, oh, yeah, all right.
I loved him in this. He's that adorable father figure that or
Everybody needs.
grandfather figure. I say grandfather figure because he's giving good advice. I shouldn't say that.
I was gonna say, what a thing to say.
I kind of pictured him as like the Gandalf of this story because I love Gandalf the Grey.
So you say Gandalf?
I
Like
do.
a weirdo? Okay.
'Cause I'm just American, okay? Anyway, and
That's not an
Just
excuse.
American.
Okay, sorry,
Gandalf.
go ahead.
Gandalf. Anyway, so I made a connection there because he knows what to say to everyone. He knows exactly what they need to hear and he just tells them, and I'm like, he's just the perfect therapist. He's the perfect therapist. You go over to his house and he's like, "Oh, let me feed you food. Oh, why don't you come and tend to my bees with me? Come
Yeah,
and
you
do
need
these
this.
calming things." I loved that. Loved it. I loved that he ended up having a thing with Andromeda.
I did too.
Okay, that's
I
like
loved
last few
that.
chapters.
But I
was
loved
not
it.
seeing
But when I'm
coming.
thinking about it,
You
I
didn't see
gotta
it
just
coming?
say it.
I did not see it coming. I was like, I literally was like, when I read it
So
because
funny.
I didn't see it. I was like, oh, how random. Okay.
When
Yes.
she goes over to Andromeda's house at one point and has like tea, and she gives her tea and it's like a special blend. I was like, where'd you get that from? I knew she was seeing someone, but I didn't know it was Kingsley, and I really liked that. I thought that was just a cute little
Yes.
side pairing.
I also thought that was really cute. I feel like the side characters in this were
just
well
so
thought
good.
out. And they just were. They were all really, really good. They all had a role to play and they played it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, I love that she had so many people in her life. I liked all of the different lines that were said by different people. I didn't write them down, but I know that they were said by multiple people where it's like, you don't really, you take care of yourself, but you're more invested in everybody else's lives, not as much in your own.
Yeah, like
Maybe you
you're
should be.
you're surviving, but you're not living.
Yes.
It's
Mhm.
okay for you to want happiness too.
And she thinks
yeah.
that she's doing great and like all of that is okay. She loves her life like that, but I think it's good that she finally does realize that, oh, okay, maybe
There's
I do
more to
need to
this
go
life.
after her. going after things that I want. And that, it made me a little bit bitter that it takes her forever to actually figure out her thing with Draco. It does. It made me a little bit bitter because I'm like, no, no, no. He is perfect for you. He is showing you how perfect he is for you. He wants you. Oh, anyway. But it's fine. I get her needing that time to figure it out.
Yeah.
She's been the way that she is for so long. It's, when it's like that, it's harder to change, to accept changes and things like that.
Yeah.
I put a note in here, Cormac equals gag. Gross.
See, and I put
As
in
always.
here, Tiberius is a wanker. So
I mean, you're
that.
both right.
I
Neither of you
know,
are
we're both
wrong.
correct.
I love that.
Let's see. Oh yeah, Tiberius owns basically all of Diagon Alley now, after the war, because prices went up and he's just a terrible person. People can't afford to live anymore. Sound
And if
sound
they like complain about it, then they get like kicked out anyways. Yeah.
yeah. Sound like sound familiar? It's fine. Anyway. Oh my God. Okay. Hermione and Tiberius, when he comes to her house,
Oh my.
that time when he comes in, he's been trying to get her to work back at the ministry because she worked at the ministry for years, had an episode, had a seizure, lost some of her memory, and was like, wake
Yeah.
up call. They don't care about me as a person. I'm quitting and I'm going to become a healer. But they've been trying to get her back, and she talks to him like she does not give a crap. And I loved that. She doesn't care like that he's a minister or not, or acting minister or whatever. And he just says, I think you've forgotten who I am. Excuse me, sir.
I would have been
Yeah,
like, I think
sir.
you forgot
Yeah.
who I am.
Exactly. Let's see. We make rules that affect you. And then I just wrote bitch. And then she responded with not in all good ways, and I put queen. So yeah, it's fine.
Sorry.
It's fine. I have a lot of like shut the hell up of him.
I love that.
He just kept threatening her, and she wasn't taking
was
it, and I
over it, yeah.
loved her for it.
Yes.
She was very like, no,
Yep.
we're done.
Thanks. Bye bye. Go home.
Bye bye.
Get out.
Anyway,
I
that's it for
loved
now.
I loved that she starts out this way, and then I think it kind of tapers off throughout the book because then she starts seeing Draco and whatnot. But I put in there a quote. She was dating herself.
I put that same quote and then I went, oh, Tracy. And I don't know why I thought of you, but I did.
No, here's a difference. Tracy goes to the movies with friends.
I know. It was
Hermione
just
takes
funny.
herself out
I
with
was
no one.
Tracy, I
didn't.
think you should date yourself too and like go out and like do things.
For the longest time, I actually went, I think, and this was even pre-COVID, I went to every single movie by myself. I
See?
went to movies by
See?
myself for years because
just means I know
her
was
better
the one
than
that wanted
you.
to see them. So
I love that for you.
Anyway,
I was too
thank
scared
you.
to go to a
Well,
movie by myself. I don't know why. I don't know what
I
it
don't know.
was.
Actually, you just rip the band-aid off, and it's actually not that bad because I knew my friends wouldn't want to watch this movie. And I wasn't gonna drag my mom to the movies because that's a little sad too. So I was just like, screw it, I'm gonna go.
I used to drag
And
my
so
mom to the movies all the time. All the
I just
time.
don't like hearing like, oh, I hate this. I'm like, I'm never taking you again. But anyway,
I get that. Yeah.
I did get a lot. I put, am I getting free therapy from this fan fiction?
Yes. Some of the things
yes,
that were
I did.
said were so helpful.
This quote I wrote down because I was like, oh my God. It says, forgiveness isn't an action, it's a choice. And I was like, oh my heart. Okay.
Yep. I
So,
love that.
yeah, that one,
Yeah. In
that
a
one
Days
spoke to me,
22, I
so.
want, what do you do for a living? Like,
Are you a therapist? Because it would not surprise us. Don't answer that, but just know that we were thinking it.
yes.
Yep, you helped me, so thank you.
It's awesome. Yeah, no, this story was so well written out. It really was. And I think that's why I related it to Gandalf because I'm not kidding. So yes, I grew up on those Lord of the Rings movies, on the movies, the extended editions, and I am still just in love with the incredible quotes that are in that movie that yes are in the books too, all of that. But because it makes you feel really good things. And this fic made you feel really good
Yeah.
things about life in general. So not just, oh, we're just waiting for the smut. No, you are feeling so
You're
good
feeling so many
emotionally.
things
Yes, it's
that by the
just
time it gets the smut, it's like the cherry on top.
yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's just so uplifting. It was so
At that
uplifting.
first smut scene, I was like, oh yeah, this does have smut in it. Like I had just kind
You
of like
forget about it for a minute.
I forgot about it. I was like, oh, so this is just gonna be one of those fics that doesn't have any smut. Oh, never mind. Yes, it does. So,
And it was
but it
good.
was nice. I
It was
am very
good.
happy that the author made Percy hot because the Weasleys honestly can get it.
Yep,
It sounds really weird to say, but like, come on, Bill and Charlie,
I know.
and then they just add Percy to it.
Yeah.
Carrie Ann, you can shut
We're
up.
gonna agree to disagree here, but
I
you do you.
love Bill and Charlie. And anyway, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just shut up now. Oh, okay. And there was fan art in most of the chapters, either
Yes.
embedded in the fic on AO3,
Uh-huh.
and they also had links at the very end. I did look at every single one of them. Phenomenal. I recommend looking at them.
They were
Yes.
great.
So, but yeah, Percy and Pansy.
I
I was super here for it.
loved.
Because Percy came over for and I know Hermione and Pansy were together. I think they were at some like dinner thing.
I think they were just having
Tea?
dinner at her house.
Yeah.
At the first
Wasn't there
time.
more people than just
I think
Pansy and
Ron was
Hermione
there
though?
and maybe someone
Yeah,
else.
like okay.
And they were just like
And
having
Percy
dinner.
comes in and Pansy just is in shock. And I
Yes.
loved that.
Yes.
Like
She
she just
goes
couldn't
and
stop
I'm gonna go get
staring.
more wine, but doesn't bring back any wine, just brings back like a glass and is sitting next to it. Yeah, like me.
It was so
So
cute.
funny.
It was so cute. And I love that she's in shock. He's a Weasley? What?
Yeah.
No.
And see, that's a accurate reaction. He's a
Yeah.
Weasley. Oh my god, he's fit. Yeah, it's so freaking funny.
And at first,
Oh,
when she was shocked that he was a Weasley, I was like, they all went to school together. I'm like, no, she was in Slytherin. She was 11 and he was 15. So
Yeah, you wouldn't have
you know,
interacted as much as you would think.
no. If
was
anything,
a
he would have caught her
prefect.
as a prefect. But I mean,
She probably
and
didn't
now
give him the
it's
time of
been
day before
it's been
that.
almost 20 years since then. So I mean, yeah. But so I realized it'd been a while.
I am reading these. I'm so sorry. Harry and Ron, I still loved that they were such good friends with her. Because I have on here, and I don't remember where this is, but Harry and Ron show up at her place, and they're just stargazing together.
I
Just the
love
three
that.
friends
They all
just
just go and
laying out
lay.
in the field,
Yep.
just stargazing. And I was like, I'm so happy that they're actually still friends like
Yes.
this.
And
But
Harry, I
Ron
think at
also
one
gave
point,
me the ick.
yeah, I think Harry at one point even was like you deserve happiness, like
Mhm.
find
Yeah.
it, and like was just being like a good like reminds me like brother because to me they will always be brother and sister, and so just like his relationship
Right.
with Hermione was very cute to me.
I hated though that even Harry was like, "Well, just bring a guy around to show that you're not
Yes.
interested in Ron, like that he's no longer an option." And I'm just like, "No,"
Yeah.
is the
Yep.
complete sentence. He should take it as
Yes.
what it is. Oh, it made me
But
so mad
Hermione
that he
said
kept
that and
pushing.
stood up for
I
it, and I
know,
loved
I
that.
know, and every single time she stood up for it, but man, it enraged me because he was so like, but I'm still gonna keep
I know.
pursuing. No, no is
Read
a
the room.
full sentence.
Yep.
But I did love that Molly was also so good to Hermione still.
Mhm.
Like
Me
some
too.
fics, she hates
Yes.
her, but Hermione
Yep.
needed that mother figure.
She did. And I
So,
felt like she got it in Molly
mhm.
Weasley. I think there was like one time, and I didn't write it down, and I am mad that I didn't, but I think there was like one time that I didn't appreciate Molly. And I think it might have been something similar to what Harry had said to her about, maybe bring a guy around or do something like that.
Yeah.
I think she said
I think
something.
she did too.
but that was the only instance. And it only happened once, but then the other times, like, she was very comforting, very
Yeah.
just, yeah, she was that really good mother figure. And she needed that. So it was good. I really loved her in this.
So, sorry, I'm now on page 4.
Oh,
Ooh.
No.
real quick, I'm jumping back to Ron the ass. That's what I wrote down. I put a quote from his of "Let's get back together. You're better now."
Yeah.
I
Oh God.
Oh, he deserved to just be stabbed. Let's summon a knife and just stab him.
Oh my God.
This better enough for you? Oh my
Yeah, what a
gosh.
thing to say.
Better
Oh my
enough for ya?
God.
I don't know. Yeah, I did. He really got the Ron bashing in the beginning of this. You were right,
And I
Carrie.
loved it. I loved it.
He deserved every last bit of that. Ugh.
Okay, back to
Yeah,
like the main.
there's so much jumping around. I'm so sorry.
Mhm. Well, back to like the main like just point of like because we're just giving like little details. The whole thing is Hermione is asked by Theo to take on a super special, super secret patient that does end up being Narcissa. She just has dementia basically, but it's
Wizarding.
because she's a wizard
Mhm.
or a witch, whatever. Just because she is magic, it is so much worse and it like progresses or faster, I believe.
Yep.
And so she at first doesn't take it, and I was actually really peeved with her. I know
You
her, so I
very.
can't take it. I was like, okay, okay. But I like that Harry was the one that it was her like tipping point of okay,
Yeah.
fine, I'll take her because he was
Mhm.
like, yeah, of course I would take her. Of course I would help her. Of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I did like that Harry was the one that did that. But
Yep.
anyway.
Yeah. I loved in the beginning when, she declines to help Narcissa at first, and then she's doing all this research, and then she goes into Roger Davies' office and gives him her research, and then is like,
At the end of like,
you
I'm
know
gonna take
what?
that back. Yeah,
I
no,
need to take that
I
back.
need that.
It's like,
Yep.
and leaves. I'm like, oh, that was so funny. Just I loved it. Loved it.
Okay. I have a very love-hate relationship with Narcissa and Draco for one in this at the very beginning. The growth in this fic was fantastic, by the by. But
Yeah.
Narcissa and Hermione, their first meeting together, the fact that neither of them spoke for so long was so funny to me because neither of them wanted to break.
Mhm.
They just sat in
Yes, and they
silence.
stared at each other.
And oh God, it was so flippin' funny.
Yes.
So I don't know. I just literally put love my stubborn queens. So
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
because they did not want to give the other the
Time of day.
upper hand.
Yes.
I did put as my next line, I'm gearing up to just hate Narcissa this entire time. Spoiler alert, I did not hate her the entire time, but I did for a very, very long time. Narcissa say in that meeting, because okay, Hermione basically does an entire like schedule for Narcissa and basically is like,
Mhm.
I'm also gonna cook your meals. How do you cook? I started laughing. I thought that was the funniest
Yeah.
thing. I don't know why. Because she was so dead serious. Like you
Yes.
cook? So funny.
Literally
Anyway,
does
sorry,
not
that was-
understand the concept. That's so funny.
Yeah. She was just so enraging. Her refusal for any muggle treatment
Oh.
was
frustrating.
ridiculous to me. Like, ma'am, you're dying.
Like,
Do
And
you
this
need
is what you
really
help.
not
wanted.
think
You
trying
want me
it?
to prolong this. Like, and I'm telling you
Like
how to
you want
prolong it.
this and yet like and it was explained later by Draco that like why she distrusts or like it just kind of gave a reason. Not I don't really remember why, but it was a reason. Still, I'm just like, ma'am, you are dying. You want time, you want to preserve your mind, and you're not gonna do these. It wasn't like medication. It was
Therapy.
exercises.
Yeah.
Phys-
Yeah.
Like for the love.
rehabilitation therapy
Like
and
yeah,
stuff
it
like
was
that.
therapy.
See, and that's when
It
at
wasn't medication.
that point, it's like, oh no, I mean, I have figured out that if we, do some physical work like this, like it's not gonna, whatever, and not mention anything about muggles. Like it.
The way I would have crushed the pills up and put it in her food.
Yeah. Yep.
She doesn't
Exactly.
need to know, but I'm doing it. Like,
That you shouldn't be a doctor. Just an FYI.
I know.
Please
I will
don't go in
never
the
be a
medical field.
doctor. Don't you worry. I will never be any sort of medical field, so nobody has to worry about that. But I'm just saying that in this situation, if she was so adamant about it and I knew that it would make some kind of a difference and that eventually she would realize the changes it was doing, I would so be crushing up pills every morning, putting them in her
Yeah.
potions. Like, I don't know. I would be dosing her. I would be doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, she was
Kinda
infuriating.
skipping. Very much so.
Go ahead.
I think this was Hermione that said this because I relate to this. So if I doubt any of my family listens to this, if so, I'm so sorry. But I wrote down the quote. Age doesn't mean that you get a free pass, nor does it mean that you're exempt from being held accountable for your words and actions.
No
And I was
kidding.
like, yes, please, because she. Just old people have this in their head. Just anyway, it's fine. We don't have to get into that, but I did write that down because I was very like, it's fine. And that you're unmarried at your age makes sense. Your uncompromising attitude is unbecoming of a woman who seeks a husband. Ma'am.
Wow, I
I
didn't
was
know
just
every woman
it
was the
drove me
exact
insane.
same.
I know.
Wow.
I'm not even done. It's it's in our nature to want to marry, raise a family, settle down, and be a wife.
Oh my
Ew,
gosh.
no thanks.
Yeah.
I myself waffle back and forth like, yeah, I might want kids one day, but I don't. Like that's not my purpose. That's not my
Yeah.
purpose.
Let
So
me just put this
oof.
out there in case anybody listening feels the same way. I have 2 children. I have worked and put my child in daycare, and I currently am not working and have both children at home. I can tell you right now which one I prefer, and it is not being at home with these kids. Okay. These kids suck. And I would love to be at work feeling like an independent
It's
adult
so funny.
than arguing with my 4-year-old every day. Like,
It's so funny because I'm the polar opposite. I'm like, no, take the work away. I want to stay home with my kid.
I would so much
And
rather
that's
be at
okay.
work.
See,
Yes.
like
We're all
very
different.
different.
Yep.
Like
I love that about us.
it's and like because and we might I might be shitting on like having kids. It's not like I necessarily mean it, so I'm not demonizing either of you for having kids. I don't give a shit.
Kids
But
are the worst.
it's just kids are the worst. But it's just oof.
Hey,
Oof.
we don't think Scorpius is the worst.
I was gonna say, are we getting ready to talk about Scorpius? Because I'm ready.
The exception. He's the exception. Hold up. Let's see.
Fine.
Oh my god. Okay, you can go.
I just
Sorry.
Scorpius in this fic was just, I don't want to say like the saving grace, but in a way, the saving grace. It was what kept you in those beginning chapters. For someone like me, who is not a huge fan of the slow burn, he was what kept me interested in this story. I will be fully, like, I'll admit that.
Draco or Scorpio?
Scorpius.
Scorpio? Oh my god, Scorpio. Okay, sorry, continue. Thank you.
Draco didn't show up until like chapter like 6 or 7. Like, he
I
took
know,
forever.
yeah.
So Scorpius and the storyline with him and Hermione recognizing how he's not being a kid and how all these people are like turning a blind eye, like just the storyline of that is what kept me really into this fic in the beginning, because it was
Yep.
such a beautiful storyline
Yes.
throughout the entire fic. And just he represented grief in a child so
Yes.
well, of like
Yep.
what would actually happen,
Yeah.
and just how you need someone to say like, it's okay if you're feeling these things, like you don't have to be perfect all the time, you are a
And that
child.
was
and-
just stolen from him.
yeah.
And it's like the only way he knew how to cope was just to stop talking.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, it was so
I
sad.
I loved Scorpius in this fic, and I loved him and Hermione's relationship specifically. His and Draco's is
Mhm.
very cute, and I know that we're
Yes.
doing this because of Father's Day. But
But
Hermione and Scorpius in this fic, that was just my
Yep.
favorite. That was my favorite storyline, my
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
plot. 10 out of 10.
That's all you wanted. It's like, oh, she's heading over to Malfoy's house. I hope she sees Scorpius.
I know. I hope he holds on to her shirt. Like,
I
So cute.
I put just in my notes, I'm so angry at the Malfoys, Narcissa and Draco,
Yes.
for how
Yep.
for how they treat him, for how they're raising him,
Yep.
angered me. And okay,
But it's
apparently it
not
is.
just them.
No,
No.
it's
That's
not.
the
Of course
problem
not.
in this fic
Yeah.
is that
Yep.
so many people in Scorpius's life could have said something. And it doesn't matter if they did. You don't say something like in this instance, it's not something that you say like once and just like let it go. Like this is something if you are continuously seeing it impact this child in this way,
Yeah.
you push. And Hermione was the only one
Yep.
that pushed
Yeah.
continuously.
I do have a note somewhere that says, where is magical CPS?
Yeah,
So,
no
where
kidding.
is magical CPS?
But it
Like,
doesn't
oh,
exist because they're like in the 1800s.
I
Wizarding
did
society.
not. I know part of the okay, I think part of the problem with the other people in Scorpius's life was that they kept saying or they kept blaming it on the pure blood culture. And
Yeah,
I
it doesn't
just
matter.
was just like, that's not good enough.
No.
That's not good enough for me. I don't care what the excuse
Yeah.
is. No one should be treated this way.
Yep.
Like I
Correct.
do. I have a note. My first tear shed, like actual tears streaming down my face in this story was in chapter 7 out of anger and frustration. Narcissa was being such a bitch to Scorpius. I don't even remember what it was. That's all my note says was that she was
Same
just being a
thing it says.
bitch. But that was the that was the very first time because just of how she like they didn't there wasn't like abuse. It wasn't like
It
like
was like expectation
emotional
and
neglect.
yeah.
Yeah,
There was a
neglect
lot
is the
of
word I would use.
there was a lot of telling him mind your manners.
Yes,
Like
like he couldn't be a child.
no.
Like
How he has to bow to you. He has to
Mhm.
so many little things and it's like, oh,
his rigid schedule, like
yeah.
learning all these dead languages, like oh,
Yeah.
it was blah. And
Yeah.
let's see. Theo saying about Scorpius, you've seen it then, his misery. And I just put, I'm so annoyed that no one, including you, Theo, has done
Yep.
anything.
Yeah.
Like,
You would have
come
thought
on.
you would have thought Theo out of
I
everybody.
know.
And Daphne
Would have pushed.
would have pushed. And I just yeah. Nope, I feel the exact same way.
And even if they
it-
couldn't push Narcissa, Draco. Push
Yeah.
him. Like he like I don't like you find a way. You find a way. Anyway,
He has
I'm
a
sorry.
nanny
Yeah.
every day. He has teachers. Like you find ways like that. Yeah. Like just yeah. But Hermione in this fic with Scorpius was very cute and the entire time. I just want
Yes.
I just love. I love, love, love.
Yep.
Love, love, love. And
I
right
love-
there. Okay. It wasn't that chapter. It was chapter 10, but she's talking with Theo. And sorry, this might be jumping a little far ahead. I just want to say that I called it. I called why Theo was so invested. I wrote it down in my notes. I called it.
You
And
did. Good job.
can I say it? I mean, we're
Yeah.
spoiling everything anyways.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Theo, from the beginning, is very adamant about like, I'm invested in this. I really want you to take this case. Like, I want you to be on Narcissa's care team. And he even says, like, it's not because of Narcissa, it's because of Scorpius. Like, I am invested because of Scorpius. And I kept wondering, like, why the heck would he be invested? At first, I thought it was a secret love child, but then
I did
Scorpius
too.
looks exactly like Malfoy. So you're like, okay, it's his kid. So it's not somebody else's.
Yep.
I knew he and Astoria were in love. I knew it. Like, why would you care so much if you didn't like? So, just pat on my
Give her a
back.
pat on the back.
I know. Sorry. I realized I skipped a note, and I really wanted to. Chapter 9 was funny to me, and the reason why is because side characters. You see more of Harry and Ginny in this chapter, and Ginny's parenting style is so funny to me. She like the kids are arguing about who gets the last of like something, so she eats it, she drinks it.
That
instead
would
of
be
being-
me.
Like
That's me
that-
as a
yeah,
parent.
that's me. That's funny. And then like at one point Hermione's talking to Harry and she goes, "But did you die?" And he goes, "I mean, technically." Like, it's just I loved how this fic was because like you just said, we're talking about like emotional neglect of like a little
Yeah.
5-year-old boy. Like they can be very heavy. And then you get these like little bright moments of like,
Yeah.
here's some humor, here's like lighten it up. And I just loved I loved the whole story. It was
It
good.
was just so, so good. And I mean, we're in chapter 9. Chapter 9, I think I have the most notes out of all my chapters.
It was such a good
I don't know what
chapter.
chapter that is. What
Well,
chapter?
find it.
Well, I don't.
So I think something is mentioned. I think this is the chapter where Narcissa mentions to Hermione, like, it's not too late to have kids, or somebody does. And I'm like, why do people get these invasive questions? That's an invasive question. It's
It
like,
really is.
is it your business? Why?
Mhm.
Why do you think it's your business? Anyway, that's mentioned, and then we find out, exactly what happened with Astoria, and we find out that Draco made her potions.
Mhm.
I'm like, it kind of goes into depth of certain things. Hermione and Al's relationship, it's so
Yes, this
cute.
is the one where she
Yeah.
decides, she asks about a play date and says like, I have a little boy,
Yes.
Albus, that I think he would love to be like your friend.
Yes.
It's like, this is the first chapter
And
that she
Scorpius
talks about
gets
it.
excited.
I think it's mentioned later. I wrote it down somewhere, and Harry or Hermione and Harry are talking, and she's like, "Hey, so how did you chat with Malfoy? Did he ask you about a play date?" And he goes, "Is that what he was trying to ask me?" That never came out. Okay, well, at
I'm
least
gonna
he
back
tried.
up.
That's
Go
fine.
I'd like
ahead.
to back up.
Yes.
Sorry. One, Draco and Hermione start having morning chats. Every morning they have
Yep.
small little
He
chats and they
makes
kind of get
her
to know each
tea.
other. He makes her tea
When does
every
that start?
morning.
When does that
I
start?
don't know. It's a little
I
bit
can't
later though.
remember. Yeah.
A tiny bit later. But right now they're having chats. She goes to and Cormac McLaggen is such a stupid ass munch. Tiberius has him follow. Shut up. Tiberius has him follow her around the ministry, basically,
Whenever
whenever
she's
she's
there.
there. And I hated that I thought that they were together at first. And I'm like, sir, can you not read like signs? Because
Can
that
you
was
not
obvious
read body
that she was
language?
not with him. Like, come on, sir. Also, we haven't even mentioned it yet. Well, okay, that's not true. Anyway, there's a threat going on. Hermione is basically like, I don't want to say she's in hiding, but her house is in hiding basically because Greyback is after her.
She hears
Don't really know
owls
why
every
Greyback is
full
always after
moon
her.
and like, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
awful.
like I always, always, and I have multiple notes throughout my notes. Forgetting there's a threat. Like I can't. It was like everything was so cute, and then it would be like, oh no, he's getting closer. I'm like,
And
oh
I know,
yeah,
and you go,
oh
oh,
yeah,
foreshadowing, something's gonna happen.
oh yeah. Sorry, whoops, I didn't mean that. She was getting Harry and Malfoy to work together, which kind of comes into them like
Yeah.
Draco not exactly asking about Albus. Um, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I know my notes are way behind what you guys were talking about, so that's what
Oh,
I'm
you're
trying to
fine.
catch up to. Okay, what is with these men? Because Theo and
What is with
Tiberius
these
did this.
men?
That's just the sentence. Just what is with these men? But what is it with like silence being a power play? God damn, that happened so
Yeah.
much during this fic of
Yes.
just we're just quiet. I'm like, fucking why? For like you're wasting my time now, and I'm reading it. This isn't even real, and I'm just it's sorry. It drove me nuts.
I know.
Anyway, and this is okay. I don't know where I'm at in my notes. I'm gonna be totally honest now, because I'm at the him trying to slip her Veritaserum. Um, that's it. Also, why'd I agree to read this fic? Everything regarding dementia is not something I want to read on purpose. This is so depressing. Oh my God. That was my note. So that just so you know, that upsets me.
Oh my God.
Also, this is Narcissa's first episode. Where Hermione comes to the Malfoy's house, to the Malfoy house. Draco is watching
The
Narcissa
Malfoy
like
house.
outside. Shut up. He has like a black eye because she hit his own mother, attacked him because she thought he was Voldemort. And my
Yeah.
heart broke. My heart broke.
I know. You think about going through that yourself, and it's like, like being the child to that parent that,
You
has
just
that.
want
And
to
that's
help.
just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard
But,
for
'cause-
him because he's having such resentment towards her at the same time that
yeah.
it's making it so impossible for him with his emotions. And he, poor Draco deals with so much in this fic. As much as I want to blame him for so many things, and I do, he deals with a lot. He's not healthy at the beginning of this fic either, mentally,
Oh
emotionally.
no.
He doesn't
Is
sleep.
he ever?
No,
Is he
but I mean,
ever?
like, the fact that he doesn't even sleep, it's like,
That's true.
no
Yeah,
wonder
hardly
you're
ever.
having the problems that you're having.
And it's only in his office. He
You can't
doesn't
sleep
sleep
in
in
a
his
bed.
room. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, back to Narcissa just for a second. Narcissa thought Hermione was Andromeda in her hallucination, and she said to Hermione, I know you aren't real. You're just a hallucination like the others, but I'm glad it's you here now, if only to just see you again. I cried. I cried.
That's
So
heartbreaking.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Her having the hallucinations of Lucius
Yes. Oh my
broke me.
She
gosh.
sees him every day.
Every
Every
day.
day. That
Oh, I
broke
sobbed.
me.
I'm getting emotional.
And then
Someone go.
she gets emotional when Hermione's potions regimen and everything starts working, and isn't there a day or she starts not
didn't
seeing
see him.
Lucius every day, and she's like,
Yeah.
I'm just having a
like,
bad
this is the
day
first.
because I didn't see him. I haven't seen him today. She's like, which is great because that means it's working, but I'm just depressed about it. Poor Tracy. Poor Tracy. Well, now I feel like we got to talk about the other emotional things that we've kind of skimmed over.
Let's just
Scorpius
dive right
falling
in.
asleep. Falling asleep. Is it in his dad? Oh yeah, the first time is in his dad's office on his couch, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Hermione is like going there to talk to him or something, and she sees this, and she sees the hesitation that Draco's having, not knowing how to
pick him up,
how to pick him up, how to take him to his, all this stuff that, he just hasn't done. He has not been there to do any of that. And it oh, that gutted me when he finally does pick him up, and, he notices that she's about to leave through the flu, and he's like, why are you here? This isn't your day to be here. And she's like, well, I came to talk about whatever. And then Scorpius starts whimpering in his sleep and says, Mom. That hurt. That hurt. And then she goes over. What did she do? Did she sing to him? Or did she
isn't
that a
that she's
poem
like
or something?
clearing the touching the creases in the forehead?
Okay.
I think she was very gently touching him, and I think she
And just
did,
talking to him.
like talk to him.
She
no,
was saying
no, I think she sang
something.
to him. I think she sang a lullaby, and he calmed down. And yeah, my God. Oh, another heart-wrenching. Let's keep going. Sorry. Let's see. Oh, I don't remember, Malfoy and Hermione, they did have an argument. Draco doesn't consult in experts because he doesn't trust anyone, which is enraging, but I also understand it. But in this argument, she slapped him with, not like physically, she slapped him with Scorpius at the very end of it.
Yes.
She leaves him with, he looks for you every morning. Just
Yep.
thought you should know. Like Scorpius he constantly looks for his dad. His dad leaves him notes. He can't even read. It's fine.
I love the whole thing behind the notes too.
No.
No, you didn't like the notes?
I do on him. No, I did.
Oh, I thought you were saying you didn't like the
What?
notes.
No, I loved them. They're so freaking.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
the whole. Yeah, no, I love them.
And then, of course, the first
Um,
one that she reads to him is so heartwarming. You're the best choice I ever made.
I'm not gonna cry.
Everything's fine.
I'm not gonna cry. It's fine.
I laugh at my emotions,
I
so that's how I
love-
handle.
It's not healthy.
Okay, good luck with
I'm
that.
just kidding.
Hermione waves goodbye to Scorpius one morning, and he almost walked into a wall because he was too busy staring at her. And I just put, he needs love with a
He
frowny face.
needs love.
So, anyway. And Scorpius keeps all the notes. Like, he has pockets. His pockets are full
Yes.
of notes from
I
each day. He
love
can't
that.
even read.
He stuffs them all in his pockets. He carries them all. all the time
Mhm.
because that's the only thing he has of his dad. And it's like, ugh, this poor boy. I love it when she starts talking to him and is like, "Do you want to hear about your dad?" Because he seemed to perk up when she mentioned his dad, and he's like, like, yeah, yeah. You just so she
Yeah.
tells him about his dad, and he's just so happy. He's
I
just
thought
so
it was funny that
wanting.
she struggled, though.
Yes.
I don't really have
How
anything
do I
nice to
say
say
this
about him.
nice? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, I and he finally kind of he doesn't like have a breakdown in front of her, but he does like she is the one that he opens up to, and he cries in front of her, and I just ooh, it hurt. You have a note. Someone needs to hit Narcissa and Draco. That's it. So that must have been
Accio
after
knife.
something. I was just so upset. Um, I then again, I don't remember. I need to start being better about putting chapters on my notes. But little James Potter, Hermione was having a bad day, and James went and just hugged
Don't
her.
do
He
this.
just looked at her and just
Don't do
hugged her
this.
because he thought because he said it's because it looked like you needed it. And I was like, oh my God, and this is James, not the one that
Yes.
she like does this.
Yep.
Ooh. Anyway, that's fine.
Carrie Ann.
It's
So
fine.
now
I'm
I'm
sorry.
thinking about how he's taught Scorpius, and I don't know why, but I don't know. I started thinking about Scorpius and Harry talking about them not having parents. Like,
Stop.
now I'm crying because I can't. It was just
Oh
so
my
cute.
God.
These kids were so damn cute in this
This
fic.
doesn't happen till later in the fic.
I know it's so much
Very
later.
late.
The kids were just so cute in this fic. They were so like, especially as they start like getting more emotional and opening up, like they just. Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
One of my favorite notes that I have right here on this page. It says, so at what chapter do people take their heads out of their ass asking for a friend? They all pissed me off so much.
So,
Ugh.
no, go ahead if you have
Well,
more.
Narcissa's like treatment schedule was so strict.
Yeah.
So it needs to be. You
Yeah.
have to. Oh, anyway. Sorry.
If you're not willing to go through that, then why are you willing to put your grandchild through something more vigorous
Exactly.
than what you're being asked to go through?
Exactly.
Yeah. Hypocrite. Okay. Anyway, at what point do you guys think Draco started being into Hermione? At what point do you think that started?
Early.
Yeah, I do
Very,
too.
very
When he
early.
started leaving the tea.
Yeah,
When was that?
I would.
When did
Early.
he start that?
I
Was that
don't know.
before solstice?
Definitely.
It was? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Okay. I'm
I'm
sorry.
like,
Albus
now I'm
was super
starting to think
cute.
about their romance and I'm going, oh,
I'm going
Woo.
back.
go ahead.
Hermione with Albus is so fucking cute. All Albus wants is a friend. He's so awkward. All the kids at school hate him, because he's just so awkward, and all he wants is a friend. And I cried a lot. No one likes me. I try. I don't like.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
These little
Oh.
kids who are feeling such big emotions. It's like there's nothing to take that away.
Oh, and oh my God,
Haven't you done enough? No, I'm just kidding.
this is only the beginning. Oh, let's see. This is when Hermione tells Albus about Scorpius, and he already thinks of him as a friend.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
No, you're not. You don't need to lie.
Oh,
I love that you're so emotional. I love that you feel all the things.
you can go on. I have to put
Collect
myself
yourself.
together. Yeah, I have to
Oh
collect myself.
man. Let's change gears back to Percy sending Pansy roses. I think it's so cute. I do. I want
I
a
do too.
side story of their whole timeline. Their
I like
entire
that Percy-
timeline.
I like
Comes
that
to
Percy
Hermione
asked.
for
Yeah, he came to
advice.
Hermione for help.
Yes, it was cute. So sweet. He was a sweet man in this. Like so different than what he usually is. Just
Normally
this
is, yeah.
prick. Yeah. Loved that. But yeah, did was he sending her one rose every day? Or am I remembering that wrong?
Was it every day?
I might be
It
remembering
might
it
have been
wrong.
like
I want to
just
say it
like
was like once
multiple
a
times a
week.
week.
Okay, that's what
Maybe
it was.
Hermione told him to do once a week instead. Maybe he was
Maybe.
doing it once a day and moved it, but yeah. But I'm now at the point in my notes where Draco was trying to figure out how to move Scorpius, and he had that dream, so that's where I'm at in my notes. So I will have to go forward a little bit.
Sorry, I'm
Oh,
looking at mine too.
okay. I know you're good. This one, okay. Scorpius hid in the kitchen cabinet to
Yeah.
get away from his whatever, and she made him a fruit salad, and that was the
Yes.
very first time she gave him a plant, and he loved it. And that next day, Draco was waiting for Scorpius at breakfast. That was that very first time, and he hadn't left yet. I put still my heart because he was waiting
Still
for
my
his
heart.
freaking son. Um, but then he had to leave. Scorpius didn't come out, and he waved at the point where Draco
Yes.
left. Waved at his back, and I was like,
I
stop,
know.
stop. So let's see. I fucking hate this fic. My heart hurts. I don't know how I'm gonna keep going. That's my note at the bottom of
How
this
many
page.
notes of that do you have?
Probably a lot. It's probably half this damn notebook. So
Oh, I love that. Because yeah, it does. It makes you feel deeply, deeply. Mm,
well, let's talk about the garden, her greenhouse. Because
love her
this is when
greenhouse.
she takes Narcissa, however you want to say it, wherever you want to stress it, I don't care. This is where she takes her
Yes.
there, and Narcissa, of course she's a bitch, and it's like your pruning sucks. Who taught you how to do this? But
Me
Yes.
too. Honestly,
that.
though, like if I
Yeah.
had done it for lots of years, at my own house and all these things, I would have too be like, who taught you? Like, I would not hold back. I would be
I
kind of
mean,
And I'm glad
that's
that
just how you
Hermione takes
are.
it. She
I know.
takes that in stride. She actually accepts that
Listens and is like,
criticism.
oh, that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Mhm.
Well, because she's starting to learn that the sharp words that Narcissa's using isn't necessarily out of malice, it's just the way she speaks.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I'm like, okay, okay.
Yeah, she's very
that
mature to
was
realize that and accept that. I wouldn't be the same.
No, I'm not. I'm not like that. You watch your
I don't
tone
like
with
that
me.
you just talk that way. I don't like
Yeah.
that.
I
Yep.
like that this is like one of their first like times that they're having like civil discussions for a
Mhm.
long amount of time. Um, let's see. Oh, and this is when she kind of confides with, I always see Lucius. I see him every day. Um, but this is also where we see the very first like threat against Hermione that there was
Yep.
a raid that
Yep.
Draco and Harry had. One of the guys went missing. Well,
He
that
shows
guy
up at
turned
her
up at the edge
house.
of her wards,
And it's so creepy.
and
It's I
just
my
staring
heart
in.
starts fluttering. What I remember the first time that I read this going when Hermione turns and is like, the one thing she did know was that hallucinations weren't contagious or something like that, and she shouldn't be seeing her hallucinations. Oh my gosh, I'm like, oh, there's somebody actually there. No, 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 no. Don't like
No,
that.
no, no, no,
Mm-mm.
no.
Well, it was just so creepy. It just the
Yes,
way that
it
was
was.
described. It put spooky. His
And I'm
tongue
gonna
was
be
bit off,
honest.
apparently.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. She was approaching him and everything very cautiously and everything. Had I been that same bodyguard of Narcissus, oh yeah, I would have stupefied the crap out of
Oh,
him.
absolutely.
Hermione gets so mad,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I understand that, but no, 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 no.
Oh, and then of course he had to end it with, "We see you. We all see you." And I just went, "Oh,
Yuck,
oh, okay. Shut
yuck,
up."
yuck, yuck.
Uh,
Hate that. I did. Um, when does Malfoy come to her house to answer all of her questions that she wrote down about his mom? I feel like that's still chapter
I think
11.
that's later.
I don't
Could
think
not
it is
tell you.
because I wrote it in chapter 11. I don't know. At some point, he comes to her house to answer this huge long list of her questions. And I wrote this down. He had a hand flex.
Ah! Yeah, I remember that. Okay, I do remember that. Okay, let's see.
And
Let's see.
flex.
So
And yes,
Draco,
Carrie
he
Ann, I know
finally
you don't
sees.
appreciate that quite as much as Tracy and I
Yeah.
do, but we love it.
So he does. This is like sometime right after this attack that he does find. He finally sees the inside of her house. I need them to bone in the greenhouse. Is that too much to ask? Just an FYI. Let's see. She was guiding him to touch a plant, and he wasn't watching the demonstration, but he was watching her. And then I put yum in all
Yes.
caps.
Yep.
So it's fine.
Yeah, there's like a couple times
Oh,
during that first visit that they get very close to each other.
the author's note at the end of that chapter said the Pride and Prejudice hand flex. It mentioned it,
Yes.
and I just said thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So,
Uh-huh. Yep.
thank you. And so the next day she brought Draco lunch. That's all I have apparently.
Oh, and I love the
Yeah.
mention. I'm pretty sure she's talking to Daphne and Pansy, and they're telling her because she's like, yeah, I took Draco lunch. They're like, what? And he ate it? Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that. He doesn't accept food or drink from anyone. What? So I love that hey, I don't know if that's before he starts leaving her tea. I'm like, maybe that's before he starts leaving her tea. Because if he's eating her food, man, there's something there.
True.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway.
I also love how Hermione, Scorpius, and Catherine the nanny, they've been having lunch together after
Mhm.
that
Yes.
like hiding in the cabinet episode. And I put on here, he got up and he got Hermione a juice box. And she's like, "Well, where's yours?" So he got up and got his own. And in that same instance, he wanted her to tuck the napkin into his little collar, even though
Yes.
he can do it himself. And my note is he just wants to be taken care of in a motherly
Yep.
way with a
Yep.
little heart. And oof, my God, it just hurts me physically. This is where Hermione offers to read the very first note right after that happened. Then I just wrote, "I'm feeling too many things." I'm feeling too many things. I lost my shit at that. Um, and I love that she kept I think this is where she told Scorpius about Albus because Albus knew first and Scorpius and she just told Scorpius about him and he really wants to meet him. I'm
Mhm.
just my heart. Obviously a lot of my notes are about the kids, so I'm sorry.
Can I switch
Um,
gears? I have no idea how
absolutely.
far we are, but there was one
I
quote
don't
that
either.
I really so again, in a days 22, I'm convinced are a therapist. So we're just gonna start there. So this is after her mom plans that like impromptu lunch thing with
Mhm.
Ron and kind of blindsides her. So then her dad calls her and they're like talking. And they're talking about her mom's cooking and her dad like says this quote and it's again going back to like the idea of like you need to figure out, what makes you happy. And he just said like they say you have to try a new food 10 times before your taste buds can decide whether they like the food or not. But I say don't keep forcing yourself to eat something that you know isn't palatable because you might miss out on finding something that is. And you guys probably just like kind of scrolled right past this quote, but this affected me to my freaking core. And if any of my family is listening right now, I blame you because this was a stupid ass rule that my mom and dad had as a kid. Did you guys have this rule?
What's the rule?
I was a picky eater. I still am. I'm getting better. I was a picky eater, so I would not eat a lot of food. But they would tell me, you have to try a food 10 times before you can say you don't like it. So instead of letting me find other foods that I may or may not like, they would force me to eat foods I did not like. And so because
Mine,
of that, I have a very hard time around food, especially if I don't know what's in it, because they would then try to like hide it in
yep.
foods. And so I like this quote to me, I actually I like had to sit back and like I felt so freaking seen from a dumb quote about food
That's good.
because
Um,
oh, I I bl- I blame my parents for a lot of like my problems around like eating and food and like if I don't make it, I have a very hard time eating it if I don't know what's in it. Like you can't just say like, "Oh, just try a bite." Like, no. That's not happening. Like you have to tell me and I have a very hard time trying new foods as an adult. because I didn't try a lot of new things. They kept feeding me the same old crap all the time. And it's like, I told you I didn't like it. So why would you think it would change in this like week span? Like,
It's true,
I don't know.
though.
So
I don't think my family was that bad as yours, Carrie Ann, but mine was similar. Mine was similar. My mom thankfully didn't necessarily make me eat things, but the rest of my family did.
See,
They would
my
belittle me
mother,
for not liking.
my mother was very, very, very picky. So she understood picky eaters, and we were allowed to be picky.
You're so lucky.
and
You're so lucky.
as a
Oh,
as a
yeah.
parent now, I'm looking and I'm realizing like I understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to get me to eat things that they thought were good for me. Like I understand that. But there's much better ways around it. And like if I don't like I'll
Find
be
something else.
yeah, beans, okay? They are the most disgusting thing in the freaking world. Doesn't matter what kind. Refried, pinto, kidney, like bleh. And that's just protein. Like there are so many other ways to like get protein
Yeah.
in a diet.
To get protein, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't need to eat a can of refried beans every day. Like I could find other ways. And so just this quote, and the dad was saying like, I don't think you should do that because you could miss out on something. Like I know he was meaning Hermione's happiness and like, you know, don't go back to Ron a million times because it's not gonna change anything.
Yep.
But I just wanted to let it be known that this quote probably was the most effective one in the entire fic for me, just because of all my trauma. So thank you for the
I love
free
that.
therapy lesson.
Yes. Yes, I agree with that. I love that line that you just said, Carrie Ann. Thank you for the free therapy
Mhm.
lesson because it really did. It truly felt like that, and it was so good. Like it just, like I said, it uplifted. It felt good. Felt good all the way through to read this fic.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna jump a little.
I was gonna say
I don't
we're
fucking know where
reaching
we're at.
not to like speed us along, but this will be our longest episode. I can tell.
Yes.
Just so
Yes, I know. By how long
That's
we've
okay.
already been here, and we're
I've
not even
skipped.
halfway through.
I've skipped a lot. Like
Yep.
I'm skipping things that aren't that bad, but
Yeah.
I'm skipping right now to just the point where Scorpius and Albus meet for the first time.
Oh, that's okay.
Hermione, where's that?
I don't know. It's just it's a
Yeah, wait,
ways.
what?
I'm looking.
I'm skipping to where Albus and Scorpius meet for the first time. I skipped Draco's birthday. I didn't
See,
care
I
about
did.
that.
I love Draco's birthday. Are you kidding?
I did too because she made him lemon and he loves lemon. Daphne
And then
went into
Daphne goes into labor.
but-
Yes, and he holds her
and
hand.
but yes, true. Draco does.
His her
But I'm
hand.
skipping.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I like how Hermione said, like, to Scorpius, if you need me, just hold my hand. And he instantly grabs on and is clutching it so tight, and I just went, my heart. And Albus was so distraught, their very first meeting, because he was supposed to say his name first, and he got embarrassed. How freaking cute is that? Ugh,
It is.
'cause
It's
I-
adorable.
Yeah.
I loved how. Sorry, go
Can
ahead.
I call you Scorp? Can I call you Scorp?
Yes.
And he's so excited to have a nickname. Okay, that's it.
And
Yep.
that same chapter, they were just talking about like I think Hermione said it, but it was like it's like looking at a small Draco and Harry, like the idea of like
Yeah.
these two young kids. Like, oh, that's so cute. They finally get to be friends.
Also,
Oh.
you didn't actually skip that far ahead. I was
I was
just
gonna say I
an
don't
idiot.
remember
Yeah,
that
Like,
far.
I
No,
don't think it
you
was
didn't.
that far. I think it
No.
was like a chapter, but Aunt Miney says you don't talk, but that's okay. I'll talk enough for the both of us.
I know. I know. I think Al is so funny. His interactions with
Oh my
Draco.
God.
Oh
So
my.
freaking
Mr.
funny.
Draco. Oh,
You can
I
call
know
me
you
Mr.
like
Malfoy.
me.
Okay,
Killed
Mr.
me.
Draco.
killed
God.
me. And then
Let's
I mean
see.
this is skipping, but Halloween. Did he
Dresses up as him.
Yes, he dresses up as him. Did he actually dress up
Dead.
as him, or did they make him dress as something else and then told him that he wanted to dress up as him?
I'm pretty sure he dressed
Penguin.
up as him.
He
Oh, yeah,
wanted to
they-
be a penguin, I thought.
Oh,
Or that's
okay.
what I don't know. I don't remember. I just thought it was really funny.
Yes, it
We'll
was.
get to it. It's
Yeah,
in
we
my
will.
notes.
It's in my
It's
notes.
in my
Uh,
notes.
Yes. That same thing though, I was really happy that Hermione had such a firm hand with Narcissa because Narcissa came just trudging in, like about to facilitate this play date And she's like, absolutely not. We are in my home.
Yeah,
This
they're
is
good.
my godson. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, they're fine.
You're
You're
not
good.
gonna do
You
that.
you can go sit over there. Like
Yep. Yep. I was happy about that. But yeah, I love their friendship, Al's and Scorpius's, throughout the entire book. It's
And I
just
think right around here, it's after they kiss that Draco's pretty open with Hermione of like, I know what I want. Like,
yes.
you get on the same
Mhm.
page as me. But he like starts flirting a little bit more, like leaning in
Yes.
and like
And it's funny because as I'm reading this fic, I'm like, this is a slow burn. This is taking over the course of like months and months and months. It's not. It's such a short period of
Mhm.
time that this is taking place. And I love that it's like you look at the timeline and you go, whoa, wait, that was fast. That was
Mhm.
fast. We find
Hey,
out
trauma
just how fast
bonding.
it was at the very end, but I'll bring that up later.
So around this time too, Narcissa had another episode. She apparated I think just into another point in her room, hit her head and had a seizure.
Scorpius
Her
saw
one doctor
it.
sat. Yeah, Scorpius saw it. And when Narcissa woke up, the very first thing she said was, "Why isn't he in his lessons?"
The way I would have been so freaking like,
Mhm.
he's not at his lessons
Infuriated.
because he's traumatized. Like,
Yeah.
God. And I think that was around let's see. I'm really hoping this is a turning point for Narcissa kind of letting him like let him be a child
yeah.
because Hermione scolded her for that, I think. I don't know. And it's fine. So, oh, and yeah, this is another point. I'm constantly forgetting that these main characters are being targeted by Death Eaters.
I
So
know.
something else happened that
Yeah.
made me
Yeah.
forget. Oh my God. The children were catching fireflies. Scorpius and what's his bucket? Owl. They were catching fireflies. But they were releasing them, saying, "We're only saying hello."
I know.
And I just put, "Good God, the innocence."
Yes.
So it's fine.
And I love that they're on the
Oh,
same page about things like that. They're just little boys. I feel like a lot of little boys would have been like, oh, you're
let's
catching
shake
them.
it. Let's
Yes.
not do
And
that
just,
thing
no,
again.
not at
But
all. They're both very gentle boys.
this was also the point. So like right after this, sadly, the Potters their house was broken into by Death Eaters, and Albus was so upset because he won't be able to see his new friend
Mhm.
anymore and didn't want Scorpius to forget about him. But they were staying with Bill and Fleur and at the Shell Cottage. And so they made him
A journal.
they made them a little journal so they could write or draw pictures to each other back and forth. And then Albus says, "Please don't forget me." And I put,
Yeah.
"Jesus Christ, I'm in tears." So, uh,
Oh,
and and that was also that very last thing because they brought Albus over late at night of like, hey,
yeah.
he's going away,
He's got to go
and
away.
Narcissa stayed and like watched that happen, and I think that was the turning point for her of like, all right, let me let's kind of loosen the reins a teeny
And
tiny
is
bit. I
that
think
is that when
seeing him,
she like starts giving him playtime during the day?
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Yeah. I think that's right around that end. So, or right around then. So, anyway. Percy and Pansy were getting close. Um, let's see. Oh, this is also around the Wizengamot. They are infuriating. They bring Hermione in her
Oh,
pajamas in the middle of the night. It's like freaking midnight in her pajamas to like they summoned her for something. I'll freaking remember.
I think it's funny that she ends up regretting wearing her pajamas, but the whole time
In the
she's
moment,
regretting,
she's
I'm
like,
going,
I don't
no,
care.
no, no, no,
No,
no. I still
I
I
wouldn't
still
care
think she
either.
would have, yeah, afterwards, like, no, do not regret wearing your pajamas. Absolutely not.
Of course not.
No, no, no.
They're bringing you at freaking midnight. Like
Yeah.
they'd be lucky if I was wearing a bra.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
uh, let's see. Oh, this was when the 10 Wizengamot members were killed. Um, and of course Tiberius is just worried about the public image for him, and they were trying to fire Malfoy.
Yes.
And so Hermione laid
And
into them
and
and
give
was like,
her his job, or
Yeah.
is that what they were trying to do?
"Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah." hmm Yep, they were, and she just handed Hermione just handed them their asses, basically, just yelling at them, telling them to take responsibility.
Yeah.
And like her threats, like she was they weren't like threats, but
Yeah, it's not a
oof,
threat,
loved
it's a
her.
promise. Like,
Promise. God, they were so stupid. I'm very excited to see the downfall of Tiberius McLaggen. So, very early on, I was,
Oh yeah.
anyway.
Oh yeah.
Mm. Another thing about Narcissa. I'm sorry. I know I'm taking this over, but
That's okay.
I have a lot of notes. Um, oh my God, where did it go? This was after this incident, I think. Hermione tells Narcissa, "We can skip gardening today." And she says, "No. I've seen what my absence has done to your garden. Your roses need me." And I died. That was so freaking funny.
that's them becoming
So yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
Like she just wants to
Exactly.
be around her and
Mhm. Um, Now moving past that, I have the chapters listed. So I'm going into chapter 16. So Narcissa scheduling an extra hour to chat with Hermione at the beginning of this, and she chats with her about, I think it's about how close she is with Scorpius. Um, and just kind of telling her like that's not the way that it needs to be, and like just talking about how it needs to be, how Draco is not a part of his life, kind of like telling her
Hmm.
the expectations that she still has. And I'm like, and she comes to her house and it's like Hermione is just like, "Oh, of course you scheduled an hour to have a discussion like this with me. That's the only time that you can take out of your day is when it has something that benefits you, or it's something that
Mhm.
you're not appreciating that I'm doing that's good for you and your family. And that's when you can bend over backwards for me and give me extra time." And I do. I hate her throughout this fic. There's a turning point, and I have it written down, but it's not for a while for me.
Yeah.
I hate Narcissa so
She was
much.
so bad.
Uh,
At their house, like, or at this what I just mentioned, they have more conversations about like pure blood. This is how it's always been. I have the quote that Hermione said, "Children weren't born," or I don't know if she said it, but children weren't born with hate in their hearts. It's taught. And I was like, yes, yes,
yep.
that is a quote that resonates to me very much. But
Yep.
yeah, just pure bloods. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, you know
So,
how to tend to my flowers better than your grandson. She said that to
yes.
Narcissa, and
Oh,
I
I love that. Yeah.
collapsed. So,
Love it.
okay,
Love it.
continue.
This is the same chapter as the solstice party.
When they finally had
Okay.
some action.
Yes. I
Oh, okay.
This kiss that they share.
I have it in caps. Oh my God, they accidentally kissed. Oh my God, they keep kissing.
Oh my god, they keep
So continue.
kissing.
So yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
Hermione, they're at this party. This party, I thought it was hilarious. Pavarti Patil is flirting with Draco so much. She thinks he's the hottest thing ever. I loved her pining after him this whole fic and crushing on him so bad.
Yeah.
I felt a little bit bad going, well, that didn't last long. Sorry. And she tries to like give him a solstice kiss on the cheek, and he does not reciprocate at all. He's not reciprocating that with anybody. And so, she's a little bit beaten down by it. And then Hermione goes and finds him. It's on accident that she finds him. And, they're chatting for, I don't even remember what they were chatting about. I don't know. But she turns to leave, and she was like, "Oh, I stands up on her tiptoes to give him a solstice kiss
On the cheek is what she's
on the
aiming
cheek."
for.
And she misses because he like turns,
He turns.
not realizing, I don't think, and they kiss on the lips a
Oh yeah,
little, and she
not
goes,
really.
"Oh, I'm sorry," and then he
Just keep
really
going.
reciprocates there.
Hey.
Found the person he wanted to kiss. And then it continues, and then it gets heated. Really fast.
Mhm.
He goes and he sits down, and she gets on his lap, and she's like, "Am I too heavy?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is getting woo." Here we go. Here we
Uh,
go. Oh, I
the
loved it.
fan
I
art.
loved it.
The fan art at the end of
Yes.
this chapter was good, by the way. Um,
Now I have
It
to
was
see it.
great.
I'm so sorry. Right before this is when Scorpius laughed for the first time out loud at a drawing of a chicken from Albus. He also has the stupid cactus named Mint
I
that
love
he
the
names Mint later.
cactus.
Freaking love it because the cactus was like, what was it? Like it was like leaning over, and so
Mhm.
he wanted to rehabilitate it. And they're learning sign language. So that's it. I just wanted to add that before I forgot about it. Also, this was when like we first met Lisa, Ron's girlfriend, and she drove me up the
Oh my
fucking wall.
god.
Oh, yep.
She was so bad. But yes, and then they kiss, and who was it? Wasn't it Ginny that walked in?
Yes.
And she's
Yes.
like, I
I
mentioned
saw.
I tried to get your attention like twice, and you guys didn't hear me, and I was like, dead. That's incredible.
Me too.
So anyway, that's fine. See, I'm on page 16 out of 38, so that's fine.
Woohoo.
Okay.
I love her, Ginny and Pansy's trap for Hermione to talk to her about what happened on Solstice.
What was it?
They like trap her. I don't remember what they do, but I just put Ginny and Pansy's trap. They just trapped her. They were like they called her over for something, and she came over to Ginny's house or somebody's house. No, not Ginny's because she
Okay.
was I don't know.
And
I
didn't
don't
they
know
go
where
out to
they were.
breakfast? Or like
Probably.
No,
brunch
they
or
were
something?
at someone's house because Luna was there too on the second level getting rid of Nargles.
So it was probably Hermione's house.
I don't remember. Anyway, they're all
Let's see.
there. They're all there,
Pansy.
and yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, Hermione describing Pansy's face, her smile, as crazed like a serial killer.
Me
Hilarious.
too.
I was like, yeah, okay.
Right?
Let's see. And we're gonna talk about the kiss. If needed, I'm prepared for violence. God. Get you a friend like Pansy.
Yes.
Yep, no kidding.
Oh, let's see. Let's see. Oh, they had a fight in chapter
I remember.
17. That's about where I'm at.
Ugh,
Okay, and they said a lot of shitty
it
things in
hurts.
anger
It hurts
to
because
each
at the
other.
end of chapter 16, after their kiss, Hermione goes, "This was a mistake." Like that's the
I want to
first thing
forget
she
it. Yeah,
says.
forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it. His eyes go wide for a split second. She said you could see that all of a sudden it was like shock, and then it went into his normal, you know. And
Blank
it's-
face. Oh,
and you go, oh, poor
You
Draco.
bitch.
Oh my gosh. Oh. And and then he tries to talk to her about it. He tries, and she completely just
Shuts him
bulldozes
down.
over him and is
Yeah.
like, no, no, there's no point in talking about this. And he's finally like, fine, no, here we go, big guns. And he's not very nice, but
she was the problem in this fic,
yes,
honestly,
yes,
because she didn't know what she
really was.
wanted.
Yep, she was. And he said things that were really hurtful, and I don't think he would have said any of those things had she actually talked to him.
Yeah.
But because I think honestly,
And
I think he already knew all those things about her. He hadn't just gone and like looked it all up. I think he knew right from the beginning when he found out that she was going to be Narcissus healer. He looked into everything
Yeah.
that he could because that's who he was.
And he's
Yep, that's
super
what it was.
like he's cautious about who's coming into his house to deal with his
Mhm.
child. Like,
Yeah.
I would too look
Yeah.
it up.
Yep.
But like
Absolutely.
he
I
had to
wouldn't
throw
throw-
it
yeah.
in. Like yeah. He was
Throwing
I
it
felt
back in
like-
her
hold back.
face is what was too
Yeah.
far. But
Mhm.
I feel like
I'll look
everything
up.
that was said though was needed on both
they needed
sides.
to clear the air.
Because then she goes into it about
Yeah.
Scorpius and just telling him like
Mhm.
he needs you. It's not just want, it's a need, and you are not there.
Mhm.
Like, how dare you? She's like, I know, like things like that being said is overstepping, but at that point, no, it's needed.
Yeah, nobody else is
Yeah.
willing to tell it to your face, so I'm gonna say it.
Mhm. Exactly.
Right. And after this fight, of course, they're kind of like ignoring each other, giving each other the cold shoulder.
Mhm.
And for some godforsaken reason, Draco took Mint, the cactus,
Into his office.
and he locked him in his office, and Scorpius was upset because he
Yes.
wanted him.
Yep.
I thought it
Ah.
was so cute. Oh, and then Draco forgot to leave a note And so
Mhm.
Scorpius shut
Like
into
had a
himself
whole
again, and I
bad
was very
day.
upset about
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
And like, because
That's how he copes.
children need a routine,
Yep.
you know, and
not Narcissus routine.
not Narcissus, but like they
Yeah.
had a routine, a very tentative one of, you know, like receiving
Yeah.
notes, and that is what he held on to.
Yeah.
Draco broke it, and so it broke him. So, anyway, and this
Oh,
is when Narcissa, she had a moody day because she hadn't seen Lucius yet,
yeah, it was just a
and I was
bad
very
day
upset.
at that household all around. Everybody was just
Yep.
grumpy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that Daphne overheard the fight between Draco and Hermione and chats to both of them about it.
I know.
Here's where you
Hey,
went
they
wrong.
need
Here's where
they
went
need help.
wrong.
They needed someone
Yeah.
to tell them you're
Yeah,
both
and I'm
wrong.
glad.
Like,
Yeah, I'm glad that somebody overheard it that could actually facilitate something between them.
Right. Narcissa was being vulnerable with Hermione, and I just wrote, God, this story is my worst nightmare. Just an FYI.
story's my worst nightmare.
This story is my worst nightmare. I have so many emotions. Narcissa was asking her for help because this is when she wanted Andromeda. She wanted to mend things with Andromeda. And because Narcissa had tried years before, and Andromeda never showed. And it made me sad.
And then Andromeda was
Yep.
gonna go talk to her, but she was having an episode and did not recognize her. Like
Yes,
that would
that's
crush
why.
me.
Yeah, that's why. Like, because Andromeda just didn't know, and like, you know, she would have gone sooner. Like, she
Yeah,
wouldn't have hesitated.
Yeah,
But like,
she did
that's
not
just
know.
what happens. Yeah. Oh, so that hurt. That hurt. And this was kind of when we learned about the circumstances between Astoria and Draco's marriage. It wasn't a marriage for love. It was stupid Narcissa demanding reconciliation, sorry, for Daphne not marrying Draco because the marriage contract was between them.
Yeah.
Draco let her and Dean elope, and Narcissa wanted to make an example out of that family. They couldn't pay, so Astoria.
Disgusted me.
I was so mad. I'm like,
Disgusted
why?
me.
You don't need compensation for this. Like,
Yeah,
why are
you've
you
got
doing
plenty of
this?
money. You don't need it.
And I
So
love
that was stupid.
when Draco actually brings that up and completely throws it in her face. I do. And he tells her, he's like, Astoria was one of the best people and you did this to her. Like,
And you treated her
just-
like junk. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, because this fic is quite a long fic and we have quite a bit to talk about, and we really enjoyed it, obviously, we've decided to actually split this episode into 2 parts. So, join us next time for part 2 and the rest of our discussion of Measure of Man.
Dramione Fanfic Fanatics is a fan podcast that discusses and reviews fan fiction written by various authors based on the characters Hermione Granger and Draco Malfoy from the Harry Potter series, created and owned by J.K. Rowling. We do not own the rights to the Harry Potter series, its characters, or any of the fan fiction works mentioned in this podcast. The purpose of our podcast is to provide commentary, analysis, and entertainment related to the fan fiction community and to foster a sense of community among fans. We respect the creative efforts of fanfiction authors and consider their works as transformative interpretations of the original source material. All fanfiction works discussed on this podcast are the intellectual property of their respective authors. We aim to provide proper attribution and promote the fanfiction community by linking the author's original works where possible. This podcast is created for entertainment purposes and is not intended to infringe upon the rights of the copyright holders. If you are the author of a fanfiction work discussed on this podcast and would like us to remove or modify our content related to your work, please contact us and we will promptly address your request. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge and agree to the terms of this disclaimer.